Hey everyone, welcome back to Tilly Talks Tech, the podcast where we dive into all the amazing things happening within technology, robotics, engineering, all that fun stuff, basically. I'm your host, Tilly Lockie, and I am so excited for today's guest. We have a guy who's been in the game for years, literally years. He's a maker, an engineer, a YouTube legend, and I don't say that lightly, and the mind behind some of the craziest robotic builds on the internet. His specialty is engineering things that he can ride as well, which is just extra fun. Please welcome to the show, James, aka XRobots. Hi James, and welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you feeling?
Yeah, not too bad. A bit tired actually. I've been at Form Next all of last week, which is
God.
the biggest 3D printing show in the world. So it was basically, I was there a week. So I drove out there with Matt Denton.
Nice.
And we drove there on Sunday, which was around 11 hours. Set up Monday, 4-day event, drove back Friday night, which was 12 and a half hours. So we got back at about 4 a.m. Saturday, just gone. So basically still recovering. Most events are 2 days talking to the public straight. This was 4 days plus traveling plus setup. So
oh my God, that's so intense.
Yeah, you got to be there though, I think. It's my first year, but yeah, lots of other creators there and every brand associated with 3D printing pretty much.
Well, I love 3D printing. That's one of my favorite topics. I mean, all these arms behind me are 3D printed, and I mean, it was just revolutionary in so many fields, particularly prosthetics, but we'll get onto all of that in the future of this episode. But first of all, just for the people who don't know your sort of story and where this all began, you are James, but you're also XRobots, right? That's the name of your YouTube channel. And I was just wondering if you could tell us your sort of like origin story, how that even started, and yeah, how you got into this thing.
Well, it's quite a long story. So I've been making things since I was a child with Lego and Meccano and cardboard boxes and so on. But then in about 2004, I decided I wanted to build bipedal robots. And I looked for a website and to see if there was some easy way of doing this, and I couldn't find one. So I decided to write the website about it. That's where xrobots.co.uk came from originally. This is before YouTube. And I put up pictures and wrote stuff about building. So, I was using things from B&Q and bits of wood and steel tubing and electric screwdriver motors and so on. And if you go back on my website to the older projects, there's quite a few pictures of these things dating back years and years. And then, so I used to work in IT. I worked for Aon Corporation, one of the biggest insurance companies in the world, for around 10 years doing IT stuff. And in that 10 years, 3D printing came along, boom of 3D printing, really. Things like Arduino and Raspberry Pis came along, much cheaper motors and so on. And also YouTube came along. So I started doing 3D printed projects and putting things on YouTube. I did a lot of Iron Man cosplays, a lot of pop culture stuff.
Hell yeah.
And basically for that 10 years, 2004 to about 2015, I did that. And then I left because a toy company found my YouTube channel and wanted me to go and do prototyping with all of those things that I'd be doing in my spare time. And that was Blades Toys in Portsmouth, which is 28% owned by Peter Jones from Dragon's Den. So quite a good media angle.
Yeah.
So, and then I basically just dropped days a week till I was 2 days a week in the end, and carried on doing more YouTube, and then just went YouTube full time. And I've been full time 6 years.
That's so cool. And like, you genuinely do have the YouTube game down. Like, they're not just any videos, like you're literally like making the craziest things I've ever seen. And then you're like dropping them regularly. Like, you'd think like some of this stuff would take like years, do you know what I mean? And here you are just dropping your regular videos on it. It's so cool. And like you said, like a lot of the stuff is open source, which I just think is amazing, because the best thing about YouTube, in my opinion, is like how educational it can be. Like you said, like you wanted to make these robots, but you didn't exactly know how to do it. Now there's something like YouTube where anybody like yourself with that curiosity can tap on, and you've got videos that date back to like when YouTube began, which I think is when I was born, actually. Yeah, you said you work for a toy company, which is also really, really cute. Right? And how did you enjoy that? Did you like always did you have much freedom in what you were engineering? Were you like actually coming up with the ideas then, or is it now on YouTube that you have sort of free reign?
There were specific things I had to do, obviously. There are a lot of things I can't talk about that never saw the light of day. So a lot of Star Wars tech toys that we prototyped that never became a product. So it's kind of separate from my own content, although I did do one video series, 4 Blades Toys, that went out in my YouTube channel. That was building a giant Hot Wheels car, which had a 6-foot drone on the top. It was actually a
Oh,
toy, and we made a giant version for the promo. The toy
yeah.
was a drone on a car. You could use the drone to propel the car, and then you could take the drone off and fly it. And we made a giant one and drove it through central London for the Hamleys parade in front of, I think, 60,000 people or something
Oh
on
my God.
Christmas. So there was some crossover.
Not a bad day at work, that.
It was
That
okay,
sounds
yeah.
so fun. What on earth? And you've obviously made so many things in your time, and I'm gonna have you like break some down, or some of my favorites down for me, if you don't mind, later on. I was just wondering, because I've been part of developing these Boynacoms, I know that as easy as you make it look, things aren't always too smooth sailing. And I was wondering if you had an anecdote of a time when things went like terribly wrong. Like, I don't know, maybe you crashed the Hot Wheels, maybe you set something on fire. Like, the possibilities are endless.
I don't really have anything that's really bad. It's mainly, I mean, so like Open Dog 1 was probably the thing that didn't work at all, and I did something like 12 videos on it. But then from those skills, I went on did the other robot dogs. Basically, Open Dog 2 and 3 were the ones that did work. So just from the experience, it wasn't really a disaster. It was just a learning exercise. But I did learn quite a lot from that in terms of the inverse kinematics and all the maths that went into it.
What was the problem with the robot? It just like wasn't.
Oh, so basically, it had rigid joints, which it was quite heavy. It was a 2-person lift, but its joints were based on ball screws, which you couldn't push backwards.
Right.
Which meant it couldn't absorb any load, so it was very, very shaky and wobbly because it was all sort of like really strong, rigid actuators.
Okay, so I mean, kind of like, did you see the Russian robot that they just launched and it just like wobbled and then fell on its face?
Yeah, I've actually built bipedal robots that were better than that.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
So,
they need to hire you.
I think I could build something better than that by myself. I don't know why they showed that.
No, that was crazy. See, I mean, that's an example of something that went terribly wrong, but you heard it here first. James can't relate. James gets it right.
Yeah, I just don't understand how they had a big demo and all the branding up on a stage show, and then it clearly wasn't ready.
No. Okay, let's talk about some of your like big hitters, because your portfolio is insane. Like, I was scrolling through all these videos and I didn't know which one to click on. You've made like Iron Man suits, Hulkbuster arms, robot dogs, humanoid robots that walk. Talk me through, okay, then the Iron Man suit, because so I lost my hands meningitis when I was 1 and started wearing prosthetics when I was about 3 years old. And that's kind of what drew me to Open Bionics at the start. Is I was about 9 years old and I saw them making an Iron Man arm, and that for me was like the first time I was like, oh my God, we're finally doing this. Yes, we're making Bionicons that look cool. Hell yeah. And I just feel like if I had the whole suit, that would just take it to the next level and fulfill all my 10-year-old dreams. So how did you make that? Talk me through the entire breakdown.
So basically, the movie came out in 2008. No one really had 3D printers at home then. Essentially, the first one I did, and I've deleted the videos off YouTube now because they had like copyrighted music on and people didn't care about that stuff then because, you know, it's a long time ago. So basically, I started with clay sculpts and making rubber molds and making fiberglass pieces. But that's very hard to do by eye. So all of that got scrapped really. And then people started doing Pepakura templates, which is like a paper, you know, like you make a paper model and it's flat pack.
Sure.
And then so people are getting 3D models and unfolding them to make something flat pack, and then you fold it back up. And the idea was you made it out of cardstock and then you fiberglass all over it and spent a long time sanding it. But basically I did that with 10mm foam instead. So I made a foam suit, and a lot of people still do foam cosplays now, with some templates I downloaded. And that took a while. And then I painted it and sealed it all. And then I decided I wanted a rigid suit. So then I basically made molds from the foam using silicon molds, silicon molding rubber, and made molds from the suit, then made a rigid suit from the foam suit. And all of this took about 4 years. And right at the end, 3D printing became accessible. I got my first 3D printer in about 2012. And then I made little catches and bits and pieces for it that were 3D printed. But even then, the palms of the hands were still originally clay sculpts that I made rubber molds from. So pretty much all handmade over years and years. And I wasn't serious about making YouTube content. So sometimes I had a 3-month gap. I think there's over 40 videos in the channel about making that suit.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. That's such an eye-catching thing. Like, you were, I think, because a lot of people have tried to like make an Iron Man suit, but I feel like you must have been the first or something.
I know a lot of people I meet at conventions now, and a lot of other content creators sort of were inspired by it. Yeah, sure. So they remember me doing that, and then now they're some of the people that 3D print them.
Hell yeah. I mean, you're like literally the real life Tony Stark.
Okay. I could do that. I mean, if I did the whole thing again, it would, it didn't even have Arduinos in it or anything then. So the electronics are pretty rudimentary. So
yeah. I don't know how much you know about these arms in particular, but you have made like so many cool things. And what we launched with the Bionic arms this year, we have the Hero Pro, which is this arm that I'm wearing now. But I don't know if you know this, but the hand can actually detach, so it's just the socket and no hand attached. And then we launched something called the Hero Flex, which is basically like an activity arm. And I was talking to another guy called Trace, you might know him. He's really big on cosplay, and what he did is basically like replace this hand and like switch it out with these tools or accessories that he 3D prints.
Okay.
And I was wondering, as the innovator that you are and the engineer that you are, what you would do if you had a Bionic arm like this where the hand could detach. Give me like a couple of things or tools or attachments you would think to replace a hand with.
So I think the detaching hand's quite useful. So if you were doing a selfie, can you hold your phone and then use it to press the button far away from you? Right, okay. So I think I'd be worried about breaking it if it had too many heavy-duty tools. But I guess, sort of like a handy little soldering iron or something would be quite useful for just touching stuff up. Because normally you've got the soldering iron and it's got the big soldering iron station attached to it. And then I always have problems with the cables not long enough. You just want some little wireless low power thing for, I just need to solder that thing. Definitely a flashlight or something, because you always use your phone light, right, to try and see things. It was just there. And then obviously power tools like drills and things. But for small work, it kind of depends how do you find holding tools with the hand? Is it easier to hold a drill with the hand, or would you rather the hand was a drill that was firmly fixed, for...
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I've done much drilling myself, but I mean, there's you can hold a drill, and then you can have your arm be the drill. And I feel like I know which option feels cooler.
Sure.
I mean, these are all quite like practical things that you're recommending. I was expecting like most people, they're like, or want flamethrowers and tasers.
Well, what do you think about, so what about manipulators, like some sort of tentacle that can wrap round to grasp something better?
Yeah, kind of like
if your hand's not big enough to grip something. Like I've even found some bowls I've got in my kitchen, I can't put them in the dishwasher because they're too big.
Yeah.
So like a longer reach fingers would be quite cool.
Yeah, like extendable fingers or something like that. Kind of like octopus tentacle that acts as like a grapple hook with like suction on the end.
And do you find your hands are scaled the right scale for your proportions?
Or
would, if the fingers were a bit longer, would it be useful, or would you think that was uncanny valley?
What do you think?
I'm not sure if it's the camera perspective. Maybe they look slightly oversized. I don't know.
Yeah, I reckon. So these ones are medium, and I feel like I would be in a small. I'm 5 foot for reference. But then there's like, if you could have tentacles and all sorts, like, why not? Because now that you can like replace the hand with anything, you can make anything. This is why I feel like you would have so much fun.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. You gave me some ideas. I'm not gonna lie. I need to get on my 3D printing grind. But the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is just the concept of things being open source. And Open Bionics is the same. From your point of view, why do you think open source materials and stuff like that is so important?
Originally, I actually used to sell the downloads, but then I found more people supported me on Patreon if the stuff was free because they like the idea of it being open source.
Yeah.
So I guess just basically it drives the community. On my Discord are building open dogs and screw bikes and other things.
Valid. And how does that make you feel when like people are literally like seeing what you've made and then they're going and attempting it themselves? Like, how does that make you feel?
Pretty surprised because you can buy a robot dog for less than the parts in the one I built that works better. But I guess people want the satisfaction of building it and or writing better software for it. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like just like looking at like the breakdown of some of
Mm.
the things you go into. I feel like you need to know all the terms and materials and things like that. But I love it when people like literally just get stuck in. They're just like, you know what? Let's just try it. But I think that's really cool. I think you're a great inspiration for people who do just want to get stuck in and have fun with it as well. Because that's what I liked about your content, right? Is that you seem to have fun with it. Like you had a theme on your channel about riding the things that you're making. How did that come about? Was that the Hot Wheels origin?
No, you couldn't ride the Hot Wheels car. That was just a large model. But yeah, I think when I can ride the thing, then people, if you put yourself in the project, then those projects tend to do better. So if you think a YouTuber like Colin Furs, when he's made a crazy vehicle or something else, pretty much he's always put himself in the project. That was the idea. I did, I did do weekly videos for 8 years, and a lot of that was little things that I could, something like this that I could test on the kitchen floor.
Yeah.
But then I dropped back to pretty much monthly videos, so I could do things like the ball bike and those projects that I thought about, but then didn't have time to do if I was doing weekly videos. So
Yeah,
if you're going
that's
to build
cool.
something big, you might as well ride on it.
Hell yeah, why not? Seriously, make your own method of transport. Why the
Mm,
heck not? So, with that in mind, I came up with a little game. I've called it Would You Ride It? And I'm speaking
okay.
to the James Bruton. So, you're going to tell me whether you'd ride it, whether you'd pass on it, okay?
Okay.
They start a bit normal and then they'll get more techie. You'll be like,
All
why
right.
is she asking me these questions? But it's all fun. Okay, first of all, would you ride a camel?
Yes, I haven't, but I guess I would if one was there.
Nice, cool. And what about something like an F1 car?
Yeah, why not? Sure.
I'm assuming that you can drive, considering that
I can
you
drive
ride
a car.
everything.
Yeah, I've got a car license. So
Who needs a car when you've got all these different weird bits, though? Okay, what about your Robot X? Would you?
Oh.
Can you ride that, like
You
piggyback
can't.
style?
No, but I want to do something like RoboCop Ed 209.
Yes,
Hang on,
of
wait,
course.
let me just get Ed 209 for anyone who doesn't know. So I did the 8080, and I thought I'd do an ATST that's two legs that I can ride on, but actually Ed 209's got much fatter legs.
Uh-huh.
So that would be a much better structure than an ATST to.
Yeah.
So that's something, whether I can ride on it to start with. But it'd be good to do a bipedal robot I can ride on, so.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe that's the next project. Okay, what
Maybe.
about something like if you were gonna 3D print a boat, would you trust that? Would you ride it?
I did build a boat project once, but it wasn't 3D printed. And I know a couple of the guys, Ivan Miranda and John Schoen, did a 3D printed kayak where they converted a treadmill into a belt printer. And they
What?
built a kayak with a printed in one piece. But for some reason, it was really unstable and it tipped over all the time. But yeah, you could
Oh,
print a
no.
boat, sure.
Would you trust it if it was 3D printed?
Probably, yeah.
Damn.
I mean, there are other structures that need to be stronger, like the ATAT I can ride on and some of the bikes. But a boat's big, so all the mass is spread. So yeah, it shouldn't be any problem at all.
Okay, and just in case you can swim, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, what about a robot dog with a saddle, like a life-size, horse-size, like robot dog?
Oh, well, that's what I'm building now. So that's what I took to
Really?
form next. And the last video went out in my channel the 2 ago, which was building a walking machine I can ride on, which is 4 legs.
Yay!
So I
done and
can't ride on it
dusted.
yet, but I will ride on it.
Hell yeah. Okay, and what about the biggest roller coaster in the world that's currently in construction? It's called Falcon's Flight, and it'll be 162 meters tall. Are you
Okay.
riding that?
I've ridden the biggest wooden roller coaster in the world,
Wooden?
or at least it was in 2004 when I went to Six Flags Over Texas. So yeah, I guess so.
Oh my gosh,
why
you're an
not?
adrenaline junkie.
Not particularly, but I'd still have a go on it if I was there.
I mean, yeah, when it's metal, I think that's one thing. I think I'm more caught on the fact you rode a wooden one. How was
Yeah.
that?
It was very, very shaky, very juddery, as far as I remember.
Oh god. I fear I would have had a heart attack, but good for you. I'm glad you're still here making YouTube videos. Okay,
Yeah.
and this is the very last one. This one's really out there. How about a time machine?
It depends. Are we talking about fiction or are we talking about an actual time machine?
Is there an actual time machine? I don't
Well,
know.
no,
about.
but you'd have to go faster than the speed of light, which I don't know what the results would be.
This is a very calculated response. I like it.
If it was just like the DeLorean and you went 88 miles an hour and that was it, not so
You
risky.
would.
But the speed of light, faster than the speed of light, would be possibly more risky, wouldn't it? So it depends.
Yeah, depends. And if you were, what timeline would you go to? That's the second bonus question.
Well, if you could go to the future, but you could go near the speed of light, and then time would slow down for you, and everyone else would go faster. So when you came back to Earth, it would be hundreds of years in the future. So I guess that's what we think we can do, but
Yeah.
we don't think we can go back in time. So then possibly sometime in the future, yeah, I don't know. See what the Xbox 970 graphics are like.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah,
That's a good idea. Okay, thank you so much. That's the end of the game. Did you like that?
it was all right. Yeah, I wasn't sure what you're going to ask me.
And now let's get back to the interview. This is the last little bit, and then I'll let you go. You've been a bundle of joy, so thank you so much. I was wondering what you would say if you had sort of any advice for anybody who wants to start making but feels sort of like intimidated or like unqualified. What would you say to those people?
Oh, just have a go. I mean, I just didn't really know what I was doing when I started. That's why it took so long to get anything done, really. Or I built all these huge bipedal robots, about 9 or 10, that didn't walk at all. So I'd say just have a go. Start with an Arduino. Have a look at maybe the Adafruit Arduino tutorials that talk about controlling motors and servos. Do a project you want to do, so you've got some motivation to do it, to see if you can achieve it, rather than, tutorials out of a book.
Yeah.
And get stuck in. A lot of my motivation is making the content, because it's my full-time job and I have to, or I won't earn any money. But yeah.
Cool. Epic. Thank you so much, James. It's been so fun. Proper snappy. I loved all your answers, and especially those little games and the different attachments I can add to my hand. I am taking notes when I get them back of my AI chatbot. Thank you so much, James.
Cool, no
Have a
worries.
lovely rest of your day.
All right, thanks.
Guys, Mr. XRobots himself. I really love how deeply he thought about that future question. You can actually make anything. He's so chill, down to earth. What a cool guy. I'm looking at that Iron Man case there, and I'm feeling so inspired to build the whole suit right now. You should 100% check him out on socials. XRobots on YouTube is his main hub, but it's also on Patreon, where you can definitely check out his next sort of gadgets, tools, and show your support there as well. Thank you so much for listening. I also feel like he's a perfect guest to have on around Christmas time. Like, he makes all this stuff. He literally got claimed to be a toy creator. Let's all get DIY this Christmas. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Tilly Talks Tech. I had so much fun. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you did enjoy it. Recommend it to a friend. Let me know who else you want me to get on the podcast. I am filling these diaries. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.